Welcome to Simply Sheppey, your community podcast which aims to create and enhance connections within the community to build a better Sheppey.
Welcome to the podcast, Sesh and Sash from Cacao Moon Wellness Hub. How you doing?
Good. Excited to be here.
So I know Sash from Sheppey Business Network, and then you two work together. So give us some background on what is Cacao Wellness.
Is that?
Your Cacao, your Cacao Moon.
So Cacao Moon and Wellness Hub are two separate entities, and we brought it together in September when we decided that we wanted to make a massive impact on as many people as we could on the island. And so separately, we've been working with Cacao Moon, has been working with the somatic movement of energy, introducing like self-coaching processes in our sessions. So we have a quantum flow, which is what I do. That's one of my qualifications. I help people move energy through their body. So stuck energy, stuck emotions, that kind of holds them back from showing up as their higher selves. And then we combined that with sound frequency. So my husband, the other half of Cacao Moon, so he's the moon, the cacao bit, I'm the moon bit. So he does the sound bath. So we get people to soften the bodies and then to move into relaxation. And the sound frequencies sort of reset the body to its basic natural state, which is openness and calm and peace. So we started these sessions and we met Sash last year around when we started the business. So the business has only been around for about a year and 3 months. And it's always universally divinely timed where we meet people that we're meant to meet. And there was this very quick connection. It was a connection with her and my husband. He was buying something off Facebook Marketplace from her. And so that's how we connected. She was doing the dance classes there and in Sittingbourne, and he invited her to come to Soundbath. And when we met, it was like, whoa. And so then we learned that Sash does yoga, and she's absolutely incredible at yoga. There's been nobody that's been able to hold me in yoga, because I'm very I like to dance, I like to move very freely. And when I sat in her session, it was like, oh. So it was one of the sessions at the beach. It was so beautiful.
Yeah, I've seen some images of that up along the leads. It looks nice.
Yeah. So I went to that one and just felt so aligned, and we thought, we need to do something together. And so Sash brought in the Wellness Hub into Cacao Moon, and we've been collaborating since. We've got quite a few amazing things happening, and it all came from this space of community and love and wanting to help people step beyond what they've been feeling and look at what's available for them.
Did you do that? Is that something that that you got into because of, so how far back does it go?
Ooh.
When you doing that? That's good though. It looks good, doesn't it?
Let's make sure you got the right images on there.
Yeah,
We've all heard stories like that.
I don't know where that's going.
Quickly.
But that's pretty cool, actually. Those are our sessions. So that was our launch night, actually.
Yes, it was.
Down at the Island Works, which we'll get onto in a minute. But
So you got into that. Like, how did it evolve that you got to that point? Is that just working on yourself?
Yeah. So this has been. I'll speak for myself. My husband is the other half, and so he has his own experience. So I'll kind of bring him into it as well. This has been part of my life, the whole opening to spirituality and consciousness from the time I was about 7.
Right.
And so it was there, and then I kind of lost it when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And starting work as a teacher, going through university and things, there was something that was missing. And then we went into the pandemic, and I had been into like personal development and things, have my own practice, was still aware, but there was something that was happening in the background that needed to happen in the pandemic. So we were South African. We got our citizenship this year, so it was a big year for us. And being able to be as a family during that time, I was very ill. I was pregnant with my daughter. Don had stepped up. I stepped up into this next level of being and believing. And I'd already started studying coaching, and I was coaching teachers at the time. And we started bringing these practices in. He created an app in that time. I wrote a book. It was massive. But what we realized was we can't just keep this gift for ourselves. and we get to give it to as many people as possible. So we took the whole experience of the sound baths, the meditation, the movement, the quantum flow, and we decided put in an hour and a half, and get as many people to experience the shift as possible. And so moving beyond the mind, moving in through the body, and working from our basic primal selves, we just decided, let's do it. He did one session. I love this part about him. I love this. He did one session with me, practiced the entire sound bath process. I'm quite okay with the quantum flow, so I've been doing it for a while. And then he was like, okay, I'm ready to offer it to people. And we started offering it at our local East Church Village Hall. And people came within 24 hours. 48 tickets were sold, so all 48 spaces were gone.
Really?
Because we used my processes. Like, I helped him. I was his coach for the bit, as like business coach. Helped him create the audience, and 48 spaces were gone, and it's been growing ever since.
I need you to help me with my workshops.
Yeah, anytime.
Good. So Sash, how did you get into it and then bring yourself into that?
Right, so the Wellness Hub, again, was born on the island. I was living on a farm over on Laysdown End, and it was the most inspirational place to be. And I started really diving into self-study there and learning. I was away from society a bit, just raising little humans. I've got lots of children, lots of teenagers that keep me busy. And I was always into holistic well-being and realising that there's so many components to life. And being a natural Libra as well, I guess it's all about the balance. But all these components have got to be in balance for life to look good. So the farm birthed, obviously, the yoga, the wellness side of things. We started growing food out there and eating more organically and building a little community that came out. And it was just a great space to be. I mean, up till midnight, someone will bring a guitar and we'll be left after yoga playing song and singing and moving, and it was a really good place to be. And then the pandemic came, and everything just fell apart for a lot of people, and there was a break in the community. I can feel that connection online. You know, a lot of people took their businesses online, and we just kind of disbanded everything for a while, and then recently started back up again through the community asking, hey, we want to connect again, because there was a lot of people bumbling around after the disconnection of the pandemic, wanting to tap into community, and there was all of these support groups being birthed, but they were supporting illness and supporting each other who were going through things. And we wanted to really find this empowerment movement of getting people well and up-leveling and doing the work and creating a community where we're all accountable to each other. So then I met Dawn. Yes, and I'm part of another partnership with Holly, so she's not here, but she's our bundle of joy. Right. She bounces into the room, and she's just great. And she's been practicing with me yoga for a long time as part of the original community, and now she does all of our stuff behind the scenes. And she's so key to our little group. So there's 4 of us that function and keep things running. And it makes us realise that we need a team, because quite often we did all of this on our own.
I think the connect thing, because we've talked before, I think that disconnect in the community in general was before the pandemic, and then pandemic kicked it up a notch, and I think that reconnect of a lot of things. It's why I quite like the idea of the Sheppey Business Network and starting to bring people back together. So you've got a community there. So what exactly is it you do? What is the products that you offer that people can know about or come and use?
Well, we've got everything from our cacao ceremonies to our sound baths, which is, you'll speak more about that. We've got the quantum flow work, the energy movement. We've got coaching within the sessions as well. There's yoga, and the yoga for us is very much about creating an individual practice that's right for you and how you conduct yourself on and off the mat. So coming to the mat, which is your training ground, and then really diving deep there. Then the work is after the mat.
So on the island, there's the Saturday morning at the Island Works, which is the Bluetown Dockland Church. And that starts when?
Well, that is at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and that's our community class. So what we really wanted as well is to have a range of modalities and sessions that were available to people for... regardless of their financial restrictions, there was always something to be able to tap into. So we've always kept that class as a donation-based class.
Yeah.
So whether you could afford it or not, the point is that you're coming and you're showing up and you're doing work and you're tapping into the community. Because usually when we're struggling, that's when we need it the most.
Yeah.
So that's what the Saturday morning class is about. And there we tend to do mainly yoga, but we'll be there holding space if people wanted to chat and wanted a little bit of coaching or, you know, talk through some things, then we're always there in the space.
And is it men and women or women only?
Yeah, men and women, yeah. And the sessions look very different in the sense that we're all at different abilities. So when people say, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible, it drives me insane. Right? You could breathe, you could do yoga because breath is king over everything. So yeah, we might have a yoga class, but the class members are doing things very differently. So we might have 3 or 4 people off on one tangent and someone else on a different tangent. So we're sort of micromanaging what's going on because it's about them finding the practice that's right for them.
I remember when I started doing yoga, there was an image of what I think I look like doing yoga, and then that was a man on the top, looked like Matthew McGonagall, you know, like on the beach, and then below there was like an elephant or a rhino that just fallen face first into the sand. What I actually look like doing yoga, that was me. Yeah, there were levels in there in it, but and I think this is the same with people. Like, I'll get fit and then I go to the gym. Like, the best thing is just to turn up and then sit in that with wherever you're at. And even if that's sitting on a yoga mat breathing.
Yeah, that's it. And you might find that in the session as well.
Yeah, sitting on the floor.
Yeah, someone's not
some
mobile enough that day. Something's going on where they aren't able to move through asana practice because there's 8 limbs to yoga as well. We use a lot of that with the holistic well-being of stuff is working off of those 8 limbs. And someone might just come to the mat and sit down and do their breath work. And someone else is in a full Ashtanga flow.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with a lot of things, isn't it? It's people that just turn up because everyone started at somewhere. And that's the courage of someone just turning up. And it's the same with like doing a class of artwork. You know, just start drawing like stick man. And then, you know, maybe put hair on it the next time. You know, something like that. Just start doing something. So that's the Saturday thing. What other things? So that thing in East Church, or you did the meditation you was talking about the other day.
Yeah, well, should we talk about the East Church thing? Yeah.
So yoga comes into our collaborative practices. So when we have our big sessions in the Dockyard Church, Island Works, then, you know, we've got yoga, quantum flow, and another practitioner. So last one we had a drummer. This one we'll have Donovan playing the sound bowls to calm everyone down at the end of the year. So everything is themed. And the sessions that we run in East Church is movement and sound bath. So people that are, we want to make it accessible. And so, like, one of the reasons why I love to go to Sash's yoga is because at the beginning of the session, she will say, you do what you can and I will guide you and support you. And then Holly is there as well. She'll be walking around and she'll be showing us the movement. And then Sash will be, you know, personalizing it for each of us. And so in the sound bath sessions, we're moving, we're dancing, we're freeing the body. And I like to bring in the coaching into that space because people will only go as far as we allow ourselves to go, as the practitioners, as the healers, as the coaches. And so I move this body, which I used to be very, very uncomfortable about moving about 3 or 4 years ago. Because, you know, big chest, big bum, all of the things. Assets, darling. Big assets.
Yeah.
And so being able to free that for myself allows other people to do it because I'm showing them the example. And then they move. We move with a specific spiral of energy. So we work with the chakras, not in a linear motion, but sort of a spiral motion. We use the voice. We use stomping on the ground. It's very, I know the guidance for it, and then I let them play in it because it's bringing that inner child. It's bringing all of us that is not able to be expressed in the week while we're working our 9 to 5s. Just giving them that 1 hour to just be. And the transformations that come out from that, like they're moving the bodies, they're softening the body, they're releasing the stuckness that they're feeling, and then they go onto the mat and they lie down. And as the bowls are being played, it's not just receiving. We only receive 3% of it from our ears. We're receiving the rest of it from our skin and our nerve endings. It's taking it to the spine and resetting everything. And for a person to have a space like that and to feel so safe to dance and close their eyes and stomp and scream, like that's what we want. Like I feel, when I speak, I feel my body light up in different ways when I'm excited about it, because not everybody feels safe in their homes or in their social circles to be able to just let go.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant because so linked in with what I do with the coaching, this freedom. It's funny because down at the Sheppey Business Network, it was Divine that we met the other day, gospel singer, was down there, and then another Steph who come on the podcast does Tiny Tots, and she gets kids to do dancing, but their parents come along, and she says if their parents have got inhibitions, the kids got inhibitions, and she starts to see them free up. And then going back to Divine when she's talking about singing, I was like, yeah, I can sing, and I did my little, what was it, Oliver Twist? Oh, by my sweet red roses. And she was like laughing, but and then when she just sung a little bit, didn't she? And we was like, shh, got to say it. Her voice was like, whoa, and that freedom of energy that you can get as a singer, it's the same thing in it. It's like allowing that freedom to happen. Yeah, I can sort of feel it when you're talking about it, that power that it gives you to free up. And yeah, it's it comes back onto this cleansing. So what the benefits are, and we can go back to what you do, but the benefits in that is freedom, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of the spirit, or what would you say people get from it?
So we've got lots of people having different levels of expansion and opening after these sessions, depending on how intentional they are going in. So this is where the coaching comes in. At the beginning of the session, we set an intention. When the mind is on board, the mind feels safe, the brain feels safe. We sort of turn off that survival, that desire to be in fight, flight, or freeze, and we're just open and receptive and free. We're our natural selves. And so while we move, then we get in the heart and the body. When the mind and the heart are in coherence, we can create whatever we want. So we've had people leaving the sessions and in the week messaging us saying, I've got a new job, I've got a job offer, or I just got my promotion. But people leave and say, I'm able to speak to my partner in ways that I was never able to before. People have left the session crying, or felt tears at the end or during the sessions, and it was tears of release. That sometimes we're told, don't cry, boys don't cry, big girls don't cry, but it's things like this that allows them to open their field to receive all the things that they want, whether it's through yoga, whether it's through the sound bath or the movement. It's that ability to do something that your subconscious mind is telling you can't do. When you go beyond that, this is the kind of things that happens for people.
I think I've always thought that yoga's a good way to explain it. It's that letting go to get, and in some things you have to get, like going to the gym, but in yoga and this, it's a case of letting go to get, and that letting go bit is the powerful bit. I think when people get to a certain stage, it's not about getting anymore, it's about letting go, and that's the way of getting to somewhere you've not been before. I remember doing yoga thinking, actually, if I breathe and sit, because how I do it is I just sort of sit, get to a point where I'm stretched, and then I just sit, and I just keep breathing, and eventually I'll breathe into a deeper movement, but I don't get it. I have to breathe and sort of let out with it. It's a similar thing with that, isn't it? It's that, but it's that courage, isn't it, to be open. I think it's quite a courageous space to get in, to be vulnerable enough to be open, and then potentially be emotional. Because it's like, no, I'm not going to get emotional, I'll stay fixed. But that, what opens up is unemotional.
Yeah, and ultimately we come to the space and we come to the mat to know thyself. Yoga is about union. It's yoking the body, the mind, the spirit. It's connection. And quite often we live for the external. We don't take that time to really study ourselves and know what's going on inside. And we become very reactive and not responsive. And so yoga really gives you that space, or the mat gives you that space to really start to dissect yourself on so many different levels. And I think combining the modalities that we do, it's quite effective, quite powerful. That we even had a husband message and goes, I don't know what you did to my wife, but whatever you did, do more of it.
I don't know what you got from it.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a lot of people that are coming back. The Cacao Moon sessions, the sound bath sessions have been running for over a year, and we have repeat clients continuously coming back, and the shifts that they have every time is different because the session feels different. When we see ourselves as completely new in a space, today you might be okay. Sash explained this to me as well, and I couldn't do yoga once, and I was just sitting and being. today you might be okay, tomorrow you might not be. And whatever you come to the session with, you bring all of you, because we'll be there and we'll stand for you and we'll hold the space for you. And this is something that we feel very strongly about. We hold the space for each other as well, because we know what it's like to feel alone and to not have support when you are growing. Personal growth is like a very lonely journey if you don't have a community around you. So things like, you know, business network, having Cocao Moon Wellness Hub, all of these spaces is there for people to not feel that loneliness and to know that other people are going through it too. And like the integration of all of the practices makes it a full transformation.
Yeah, it sounds like that greenhouse, that, you know, that space that you can get in and grow and be safe in without.
Yeah, exactly that. And we have a lot of people coming to the space who are also in the healing field, a lot of Reiki masters. And because we start to unlock each other energetically, we feel a lot more energetically and we hold space for each other, and it ends up being a really good community.
A collective.
Yeah. It's a great collective.
Just explain the energy bit then, because so I sort of get it, but if someone's watching on Sheppey that's never been it before, like, what's all this about? You know, what's this energy about? What would you say if you had to walk through a session on the energy? You said quantum.
Yeah.
What was that aspect of it?
So the quantum flow is a movement process, and I normally don't say quantum flow, I just say somatic movement.
Right.
So what it does is it gets you very aware of the body. So when we feel an emotion, let's say we feel fear, a dog barked and you're like, and you're sort of holding that feeling in your belly. That's where that fear has now been stored, because you've got hormones that are moving through the body, chemicals that are moving through the body, getting stuck in that space, because that's where the feeling is stored, or that's where you've held it. And so if we're constantly in the space of fear, the body will hold that fear in that place for a very long time. Some people will have fear over a very long time, from birth, before birth. And so when we do this quantum flow movement, all we do is we get the person very present in the body to notice where they're holding that emotion, that it could be a trauma that they're holding, that experience. It might even be a story about themselves that they're holding. So I used to hold not enough in my heart quite often. And I would feel it when I got very centered in the body. And so we guide them through a process where they feel safe to connect to the body. And then through the movement, as we move, as we stomp, the words that we use helps them to visualize that energy starting to move and move through the body. So when we think about energy, it's the aliveness in our cells, is the beating of the heart. If you stay very still in this moment, you'll feel a fizzing in the body. And that's the energy that we're talking about. And if you imagine yourself connecting to the ground, connecting to the sun, then there's sort of an expansion or an opening of that energy. And so sometimes that flow gets stuck. And when that flow gets stuck, then it's our role to facilitate the movement of that flow. And if a person is willing to release it, then it gets released, because it's a choice. We all, as human beings, have choice. We may not have choice in the outside circumstances, but we have choice in how we feel and how we choose to respond.
So is this a process like a guided meditation?
Well, it starts as a meditation.
Yeah.
It starts. And then it gets into slow breath work, movement, moving the body in different ways. We may say hold the breath, squeeze the belly. We might say expand the belly. So the breath is a big part of it. Some of the roots of quantum flow is yoga and Tai Chi. So as we move the body, we start to soften. The softer we feel in the body, the more loose we feel, the easier it is for us to just let go of the things. So when people like manifesting, creating, they say, be quiet, surrender. Surrender is not, I give up from my mind. It's also, I'm soft in the body so that I know I can let go. We can't let go if we're doing this, but we can let go if we're doing this. So that's the process we guide them through. It is like a combination of Tai Chi, yoga, Qigong, ecstatic dance, breath work. So some of Dr. Joe Dispenza's work in there, and some of my personal work as well that has helped. I think we've done about 500 sessions of this online and live and in person. And so my own work comes in. Recently, I freed my voice and I started screaming with everybody and brought that in. And the amount of joy that people get just to open their voices and scream. Because who's going to do that in the mall? Like, you're not going to do that walking on the road. But the quantum flow is a very specific process where we guide a person to feel so safe that they can shake the stuff off.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to say too many bad words. Ben will have to keep editing it over. I was just thinking about 3 or 4 things I could have said then, yeah. Being on our best behaviour, Ben.
It is. And I think, with energy, a lot of people don't necessarily understand the whole energy thing. But in layman's terms, we might walk into a room and sense something's not right. There may have been an argument in there, and you think, oh, this is a bit tense. The energy's a bit dense. And that's how we can sort of tap into it like that. If you came right up behind me in my energy field, I'd probably sense that you're right there, So we have those senses of energies, but we are all energies. Like, yes, we're encased in flesh and bones and whatever else, and more gross matter. But what's subtly running through us, and we're all sitting in the same energy field here, we're all sharing a connection. And energy, when it syncs, so you get that synergy. We've spoken quite a lot of the time about when you come into connection with someone, and the synergy is like a dance, and then you start to move, and we have so much of that in our community now. Or you might connect with somebody, you go, oh, that doesn't feel good, and that's all energy. So that's understanding it from the gross to the very subtle level.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because it's funny, so my wife's petrified of birds. So if we're walking along and there's like a flock of birds come down, you can just see her whole body change. And we have this argument that she says there's no such thing as tonality. I'm like, there is tonality. I can feel it in your voice. You're all right. Yep, fine. There is that. There was a woman that was on a workshop that we did. She did leadership workshops with horses and leaders, because horses pick up on people's energy and this and the other. It's
animals
a big thing.
Animals are very good at it.
Yeah. So what else would someone get? So from that they get freedom. So what are some of the other things, and why do you do it? What do you get from it now, in terms of, you've probably mastered it yourself? Is it giving back that you get?
Ultimately, we're all parents, so the biggest joys are obviously giving that legacy to our children. So it starts there. It starts within our homes. I mean, everything starts with the number one and your purpose in life, and then it expands that sense of service that we both have, that call to service, that creating of community, and giving people a space to more consciously expand.
Because you can't give something you haven't got, and if you come and do that work and then get to the place where you're that chilled, at least then you can hold that space for your kids.
The container. I mean, we are containers, and that container, if it's dirty, it can't do the work. And quite often you may find that we pull back from our work a little bit, because we're dealing with things personally that I'm not in a place to hold space in my community. So this is the beauty of our teams, that we can pick up on each other's, keep that balance going when one of us needs to have a little time.
So when I do my 36-hour fasts on a Monday, my daughter comes down and says, winding me up, asking if I want to go to Starbucks or something like that, and I want to throw her through the window. I'll phone you guys up. Yeah, we can do something over the phone.
Walk through breath work.
Calm down, breathe, Matt, breathe.
I think you're doing just fine.
Oh,
Just
really?
stay away from the honey and banana sandwiches and island works.
So that's it. I'm going down this afternoon. So in terms of Sheppey, if we were sort of going to connect now in the community and ask people to get involved, or what is it, so we're coming up to the end of the year now, what is it you're looking for in the new year to be doing on the island, and what's your ask of Sheppey?
So it started off as yoga separately and sound baths and quantum flow, and it's become this incredible thing where we now have enrichment sessions where in December we're going to look at a wind down from the year. We're going to dance together, we're going to relax to sound baths, we're going to do some very introspective yoga and breath work. And so these things are coming for people to join. We want to make it as easy and accessible as possible for people to know, I don't need to go and listen to all of the astrology and this person and that coach and this person to know that I need to do this. We want to give them a space to be like, Cacao Moon Wellness Hub, that's the place I'm going, let's go and do it. Let's go and join the community. So in the new year, we will be having more of our regular yoga sessions in the Dockyard Church at Island Works. We will be having our regular sound bath and quantum flow sessions in East Church. That's every first Sunday of the month. And we'll be having more enrichment and collaboration sessions. One of our goals is, I think personally, when I see new healers, and I love Sash's, why Sash and I get along very, very well is because we have very similar energy when it comes to driving things and moving things forward. And when Sash told me about this, the wellness hub, and I gave her the ideas and the suggestions, she was like, yeah, let's run with it. And she went with it. And a lot of healers and practitioners, new meditation teachers, new Reiki practitioners that have come to our sessions and have said, I really want to do this, but they don't do anything with it. And so what we want to do in the new year is to get them to come and do something with us, to feel what it's like with a community around them, with a group of teachers that know how to do this, sit and hold space with us. We had a Reiki practitioner come and sit and just hold Reiki in our session because we invited her to do it. And the more healers feel comfortable and open and supported and safe to display their talents, to support the community and the collective, the more impact we're going to be able to make on the island. So it's not just us. We want to bring more aligned and more people in so they can feel brave to do this work.
To do the work, yeah, that's it. I mean, we just had recently the Warrior Woman, so all our monthly sort of enrichment evenings are themed a little bit differently. So this one we chose to have just women in the space, and it was actually really, really powerful. And we brought in a shamanic drummer as part of that session. So we created a platform for her to come and do her work, and we share communities, because that's what it's like. There's so many people out there doing the light work, you know, setting up little communities, but we're all like, we've got a similar mission. So we need to integrate that, and that's what we'd like to do, is to have more people dropping into the monthly sessions, supporting us, we support them, and working together in synergy.
Yeah, I think that that hub down there is going to be, I sort of think from it, I definitely think there's going to be a marketing element of it for businesses that want to get stuff out of it, and I feel like the wellness is going to be another big thing that comes out of it, as well as the community connections and the charity stuff that we're doing. So I think it's going to be a good birthplace for stuff like that to thrive in. So I was gonna wrap it up. So I thought a new idea was like, what's your best bits of Sheppey? Because this is based on Sheppey, and so just off the top of your head.
Favorite Minsterlies. That square. Well, we did the yoga there. The first
pontoon,
yoga was
the
amazing.
platform.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. As you come
The
down
square.
by the toilets. There's
Yep.
the first one there. Yeah.
Favorite place. Because we moved to this island about 4 years ago when I was pregnant with my daughter, and we moved from a very challenging environment to this place, and it was like, okay, so calm, so clear, so wonderful. But that, I remember the day before she was born, I went to the beach. She's a summer baby, so it was very still. The water was completely still. I mean, it looks like a mirror. Absolute favorite time of the day, of the year, whenever. It's like you're in this moment of stillness, and there's this big body of water, bigger than you, so big and calm, and you can be that calm as well. And so, favorite place, love going to the Minsterlies.
I don't think people realise, like, I used to, when I moved away and lived in London, I used to come back down, I used to go down the beach, and I remember thinking, people in London never see this far.
Yeah.
There's always something in the way, and there in Shewness, like, you can just see an immense amount of water, and I think it's powerful, isn't it? That spot down there. What about you, Sash?
Oh yeah, you took it from me.
You're not really thinking about it. I like that. Yeah.
No, I think
think on the spot. Come on, Sash, quick.
The Lees is a really special place,
Yeah.
and of course we started actually down at the Lees, having our 6 a.m. club. You know,
So
Yeah.
we
beautiful
started our
there.
yoga down there on that platform, watching the sunrise. You know, and then catching the sunset. We have the most beautiful sunrise and sunsets over here, and yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a board up, so you can't say the Lees after that now, because everyone's gonna say the Lees. Isn't they?
Yeah,
Come on,
that's
where
right.
else?
Over Shellness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place. The walks out to Hearty,
Yeah.
down by Hearty Ferry Church.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous down there. The wildlife, the birds. You can get lost. I mean, we are both not from the island originally. I'm from an island in the Caribbean.
Right.
So I'm from the West Indies, and you're on the South Africa. South Africa.
Africa,
Yeah. So you're from that end, and we both had this agreement of this island is a special place.
Yeah. It's
yeah,
home.
and it is. It's definitely a home.
I
from
think the
home.
thing that, and that's the why I like the idea of this bit, is one is simply Sheppey, is about Sheppey, but also people that live on the island, they just get used to it.
Yeah.
And they think it's normal, and there's a story around it which is negative. And when you move away, you realise there are so many other places that are so much worse, and everything's got its good bits and its bad bits. And then you realise people have come back and see it for what it is. There is a lot of potential in that down there. So
that's it.
good.
That's a great place. That's a great place. And we would actually probably like to take this model that we've birthed on the island and then take that to far further corners of the UK as well. That whole thing that we've created, the unique little recipe that we have. Yeah, the plan is to really throw it further afield.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, well, good luck. I'm sure you're going to come back on the podcast, maybe to host or be involved in the wellness element of it, where someone else hosts something.
Inevitably.
Anyone else wants to do any hosting, by the way, then give us a shout and come and take over from me. Good, thanks.
And thanks for
good
having
luck.
us on. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Cheers.
It's been awesome.